Hello and welcome to IndoDiveX, a podcast about diving, ocean stories, and the incredible underwater world of Indonesia.
I'm Kai.
And I'm Mia.
In this podcast, we explore marine life, diving adventures, and the magic of the Coral Triangle.
Hey Kai, it is so good to be back in the studio with you. I was just thinking about that feeling when you first dip your mask into the water. The quiet, the colors. It's like entering another dimension. How have you been?
Oh, I'm great, Mia. But I know exactly what you mean. Indonesia has so many of those otherworldly spots that it's almost impossible to pick a favorite. But today, we're going to try. We're talking about the most beautiful coral reefs we've ever seen in Indonesia.
That is such a huge topic. With over 17,000 islands right in the heart of the Coral Triangle, where do we even begin? I think for me, it has to be Raja Ampat in West Papua.
Classic. And for good reason. Raja Ampat is literally the world champion of coral. It's been recognized as having 75% of all known coral species on the planet. I remember drifting over the terraced reefscapes there. It felt like a dream.
It's mind-blowing. I was reading that it's home to over 1,300 to 1,511 species of fish. One of my favorite spots wasn't even a deep dive. It was the wooden jetty at Sawandarik village. The pilings are completely encrusted in soft corals and sea fans, and you can see giant clams just sitting on the bottom.
I love Sawandarik. You can even see the reefs there without diving when the tide is low. But if we're talking about sheer coral density, I have to mention Wakatobi in southeast Sulawesi. It's famous for having the second largest barrier reef in the world after Australia.
Wakatobi is incredible. I remember visiting Hoga Island. The water is so clear, you don't even have to dive deep to see the colors. They have something like 750 species of coral out of the 850 found in the entire world.
That's insane. That's almost all of them. And for the divers who like a bit of drama, there's Bunaken National Park in North Sulawesi. The underwater topography there is wild because the reef plateaus suddenly turn into vertical walls that drop into the blue abyss.
It's like a skyscraper underwater, and it's so well protected. 97% of the park is actually water. It's even a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I also have to give a shout out to Komodo National Park. Everyone knows the dragons, but the reefs at sites like the Cauldron or Shotgun are world class.
Oh, the currents at Shotgun are legendary. It shoots you through a channel and leaves you floating over pristine coral bommies that almost reach the surface. Because of the cold, nutrient-rich water from the Indian Ocean, everything there is just so vibrant.
It really is. Okay, Kai, let's hit our listeners with some quick IndoDiveX ocean facts from the sources.
Let's do it. Fact number 1. Raja Ampat holds the record for the most coral types, with 537 to 540 different species identified so far.
Fact number 2. Wakatobi is a biodiversity powerhouse. More than 112 types of coral from 13 different families can be found in its waters.
Fact number 3. In Bunaken, researchers have even found a living fossil called the Coelacanth fish in the Bay of Manado.
And finally, fact number 4. Indonesia was actually named the best scuba diving destination in 2021 by Dive magazine. We truly have a treasure under our waves.
It makes you realize how precious these places are. But we also have to remember they are fragile. I was reading that in Bali, for example, more than 50% of the coral reefs in the coastal areas have suffered damage from things like climate change and human activity.
That's why conservation is so important. I love hearing about the restoration projects like Biorock and Pumateran, where they use low-voltage electricity to help coral grow faster on steel structures, or the Reefstar projects that create stable foundations for new coral in places like Nusa Penida.
Exactly. Protecting these reefs isn't just for divers, it's for the local communities that depend on the sea for food and protection. Every little bit of awareness helps.
Well said, Kai. I think that's all the time we have for today's dive into Indonesia's reefs.
Thank you for listening to IndoDiveX.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow the podcast and share it with fellow ocean lovers.
Until the next dive, keep exploring and keep protecting our ocean.